The Winter War, which lasted from November of 1939 to March 1940, saw a Soviet invasion of Finland as Finland was agreed to be given to the USSR in the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact between the Nazis and the Soviets. The Finns, however, put up a very strong resistance to the Soviets, and many countries supported Finland in various ways, ranging from sending supplies to foreign volunteers. One such supportive country of Finland was Hungary. After the end of the First World War, Finland had become independent from Russia, and Hungary lost the war as the Hungarians were part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, which lost roughly two-thirds of their territory as a result of the Treaty of Trianon. One-third of Hungarians were suddenly left outside of Hungary's borders as the country became increasingly isolated from Europe. Finland was one of the few European countries that felt sympathy towards Hungary and advocated for the Hungarians, and in turn the Hungarians then regarded the newly independent and democratic Finland as an ideal European state. Because of this, good connection formed between the two countries during the 1920s and in the interwar period. When the Winter War first broke out between Finland and the Soviet Union, the Finns came out beating up the Soviets like they were mad in a boxing match. As the Finns were beating the living crap out of the Soviets, many Hungarians felt great sympathy towards Finland and wanted to still help them. The Hungarian government initially did not officially give any support to Finland, but secretly supported Finland by sending armaments and war equipment valued at 1 million Hungarian pengos by British and Italian ships during the Winter War. Hungarian non-government organizations also gave supplies, armaments, and sent volunteers to Finland. Although the Hungarian government wasn't officially supposed to be supporting Finland during the Winter War, Regent Admiral Horthy was very pro-Finland and had a lot of knowledge of what was being sent to Finland from Hungary, including government hardware and other things through non-government organizations. For example, the Hungarian-Finnish Association began to organize nationwide collections for the first days of December 1939 as Brother for Brother and Hungarian Mothers for Finnish Children. Collecting of donations and clothes was organized by the Hungarian Red Cross, which also organized the shipment of first aid supplies to Finland. Additionally, Hungarian biochemist and Nobel Prize winner Albert Stent Groyegi offered all of his prize money to Finland. The recruiting of the Hungarian volunteers started on December 16, 1939 with the printing of recruitment leaflets. During the Winter War, around 25,000 Hungarians applied to fight in Finland against the Soviet Union. These applicants underwent a very strenuous selection process where only applicants that were accepted would be unmarried men who had already completed their obligatory military service to Hungary, had no criminal record, and were not communist sympathizers of any kind because, they're fighting against communists now. Of the 25,000 men, only 350 applications were accepted, who were mainly from Budapest, Nagykanizia, and Debrecen, and mostly were between the ages of 18 and 30 years old. Training began on January 10, 1940, and the volunteers formed a battalion commanded by Imre Kemeri Nagy. The Hungarian Volunteer Detachment Battalion had 24 officers, 52 non-commissioned officers, 2 doctors, 2 padres, and a total of 346 officers and other men. Now, going to Finland was very difficult for the volunteers as they were forbidden from traveling across Germany and occupied Poland for various reasons. The first being that Germany and the Soviets had agreed to the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. The second being that Hungary had refused to allow Germany to use Hungarian rail systems to invade Poland. And the third reason was because Hungary had accepted Polish war refugees after the Germans and Soviets invaded Poland. Because of this, the volunteers had to travel across Yugoslavia, Italy, France, the United Kingdom, Norway, and Sweden to finally make their way to Finland. And they also had to travel without any weapons and by a special train that officially classified them as tourists going on a ski trip. Once in Finland, the battalion was quartered in Lapau in the training center of the International Volunteers of the Winter War. In Lapau, they took part in further military training, learning skiing and winter warfare from the Finns. However, before the Hungarian battalion could see military action against the Soviets, the Moscow Peace Treaty was signed on March 12th. Therefore, many of the volunteers were very frustrated that they had made this long journey to not fight against the communists. But in the last days of March, Field Marshal Mannerheim visited Lapau, where he met with the Hungarian battalion and expressed his thanks to the volunteers for coming to fight for Finland, as he promoted Lieutenant Imre Kemeri Nagy to captain, which was later accepted by the Hungarian General Staff. From April 17th to May 19th, the Hungarian battalion served in Karelia at the new border state against the Soviets. Outside of the Hungarian Volunteer Detachment Battalion, there were many other Hungarian volunteers who fought in the Winter War in the Finnish army just as individuals. Examples would be 2nd Lieutenant Matthias Piriti, who served in the Finnish Air Force and took part in more than 20 missions. Warrant Officer Vilmos Bekasi's plane disappeared over the Gulf of Bothnia, and Gazi Cipresi, along with 4 fellows from the Military Technical College of Berlin from Hungary, went to Finland where he was wounded in action. The battalion's trip back to Hungary began in May of 1940, where they traveled by steamship from Turku, Finland, into Germany. In Turku, the Order of the White Rose of Finland was given to the Hungarian officers of the battalion. The German government then gave them special permission to use German railway lines in order to reach Hungary, as expenses of the homeward travel were paid for by the Finnish Ministry of Defense. The volunteers then arrived in Budapest on May 28th, where they were warmly welcomed by their Prime Minister. The history of the Hungarian Volunteer Battalion, however, has been buried by the Hungarian Communist regime between 1949 and 1989, as the battalion itself could not be studied, and a list of the volunteers' names was found in Finland. Study on the battalion did not occur until the early 1990s, after the fall of the Soviet-owned regime, where the survivors recounted their experience orally, and many of the volunteers had died in World War II from old age. Therefore, research has been difficult, and record-keeping on the battalion has been virtually non-existent. Did you know about the Hungarian support of Finland during the Winter War before this video? Is there any information that I left out or that you know of that could improve this video? Let me know in the comments, and thank you for watching.